This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we speak about why, when you do a crime, you must do the time, and why a serial fraudster lost his request to shorten his time of supervised release because he wasn't a nice man, and because he came up with no good reason to shorten it. And the reason is because after you're released from prison, a criminal must submit to supervision to prevent recurrence of his criminal conduct. Frank Capozzi, acting as his own lawyer, filed a letter motion requesting early termination of his supervised release approximately 18 months into his 36-month term of supervised release. In a case entitled United States of America versus Frank J. Capozzi, the United States District Court for the Middle District of Pennsylvania on January 13, 2025, rejected his motion. The primary purpose of supervised release is to facilitate the integration of offenders back into the community rather than to punish them. Congress has provided the sentencing court with the authority to terminate a defendant's term of supervised release early, pursuant to 18 U.S.C. Section 3583, (e). The factors the court must consider include 1. The nature and circumstances of the offense and the defendant's history and characteristics. 2. The need to afford adequate deterrence to criminal conduct, protect the public from further crimes of the defendant, and provide him with needed educational or vocational training, medical care, or other correctional treatment in the most effective manner. 3. The kinds of sentence and sentencing range established for the defendant's crimes. 4. Pertinent policy statements issued by the United States Sentencing Commission. 5. The need to avoid unwarranted sentence disparities among defendants with similar records who have been found guilty of similar conduct. And 6. The need to provide restitution to any victims of the defense. In the present case, on September 11, 2019, Defendant Capozzi pleaded guilty to several crimes, including convictions for his involvement in an extensive scheme from 2010 to 2014 to defraud the Department of the Treasury through the filing of false income tax returns. The falsified tax returns often used the identities of individuals, many of whom were incarcerated, who had no knowledge that returns were being filed in their name. Since the age of 19, the most recent convictions prior to the commencement of the instant case in 2016 included a state court conviction in 2013 for fraud in completing insurance claims, insurance fraud, theft by deception, and conspiracy theft by deception due to Capozzi's submission in 2011 of false employment information to Allstate Insurance to receive disability benefits to which he was not entitled. On September 9 of 2020, the United States District Court sentenced Capozzi to a term of incarceration of 70 months, to be followed by a term of supervised release of 3 years. Capozzi began his 3-year term of supervised release in mid-2023 and has now served approximately 20 months of the supervised release term and is moving for early termination of that supervised release. Capozzi presented to the court little evidence that new or unforeseen circumstances have arisen warranting the early termination of his supervised release. Capozzi's history and characteristics, and particularly his history of engaging in various types of fraudulent activity since 2010, as evidenced by his convictions in the current action as well as those in 2013 and 2014, weigh in the court's mind against early termination of his supervised release and demonstrate a need for continued supervision. Therefore, Defendant Capozzi's letter motion requesting early termination of his supervised release was denied. In my opinion, Mr. Capozzi was a seasoned fraudster whose schemes cheated the government, the public, and the insurance industry out of millions of dollars. His last conviction put him in jail for 70 months and 36 months of supervised release. He asked the court to let him free of the supervised release, but without sufficient evidence of a reason to do so. He was a serious criminal, and every time he was jailed, he came out and committed more fraudulent crimes and sought mercy without any hope he will not commit more fraud. This video is adapted from my blog, Zalma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zalma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog and you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5 or 6 a week, and you'll gain access to the more than 4,950 blog postings. Please tell your friends and colleagues about the blog and these videos and let them subscribe to the blog and the videos. They're all free. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance fraud, and insurance law, please consider subscribing for a very small fee to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.